Welcome back to the Warrior Servant Leader podcast. We're so glad you're joining us again today. We have a fascinating guest, and actually our first international guest coming to you from the Netherlands. And her work sits at the intersection of high performance sport and business, where pressure, decision making, and responsibility are part of everyday reality. She has spent years operating in environments where mistakes are visible, outcomes matter, and leadership isn't theoretical. And it's tested in real time. So, what we're going to talk about today, there is no rehearsed framework or motivational sound bites. We're going to get down into the nitty gritty of when leadership counts and pressure is on and you're tested in real time. Please welcome Silvia Rizzo. We are so happy to have you here, Silvia.
Thank you so much for your kind invitation. It's an honor to be here for me.
So, you have quite the diverse background in competitive, high performance sports and the business world. So, tell us, I want to know how you can go from racing motorcycles to riding horses in the very competitive arena of dressage. What what's the rest of the story behind all that?
Well, let's say that something that is really fascinating me is being always in high environment, sport and business and everything. So, it's something when adrenaline is in there, I'm always attracted. So, yeah, I started with riding horses and riding motorbikes. And, the funny thing is that my Grand Prix horse is called Ducati. So,
So
what
that
nothing than a different name could be better. So, yeah, so we have this Ducati horse and, of course, the Ducati bikes.
Oh wow. So I want to get into your insights and experiences in high pressure situations and and how that test your leadership. But one of the things I found is a lot of times people have a different ideas or definitions of leadership. So how would you define leadership from your world?
Well, leadership, from my point of view, is not showing of how much you are stronger or how much you can go through things or challenges, whatever. But for me, leadership is the ability of being able to adapt to new situations and new circumstances. So that's what is the meaning for me about leadership.
That a great definition. Great that whole idea of adaptability, particularly because you talk about that. It's you can't have an oops moment racing a bike or showing a Grand Prix horse. It's real time with real consequences.
Yeah.
So, give me your best success story of adapting, and then of course I'm going to ask you, give me your worst story of your adapting didn't come out the way you thought.
Yes, of course. Well, there is not a specific episode that I can tell you about because if you think about my sport is dealing with an alive animal of 700 kilos, and you can't have any kind of certainty with that during a competition, but also during a daily training. Anything can happen, like a sound or something in the environment that you couldn't expect. And then you have an animal under you, and anything can happen. So it's very important that you don't react emotionally, but you always stay focused and you go back to your basic training, which if we have to speak about also normal life, not all about horses, um, to anything that can happen, because we can't really have everything under control. So when we are facing a meeting, when we have something, uh, we can maybe have one direction, but we can't predict the future. So it's there that it's our ability of being able to adapt ourselves, but staying structured, staying stable and loyal to our structure,
Yeah.
our way of working, our way of thinking, and that's it.
I'm looking down because I'm taking notes. there's a
Yeah.
there's a lot to unpack there, and one of the things I think what I'm hearing is the typical response most of us have, and this is the way we've wired our brains. It's the way we've been taught. When the unexpected happens, or when the challenges and obstacles we face, we tend to either uh, duck and run away, freeze, uh, or come out swinging, fighting those emotion-driven reactions,
Yeah.
and that's how we've wired our brains, I think. And I mean, we've been conditioned. How do you take that human factor and get focused to do the intentional response, not emotional reaction? But at the same time, how do you get the animal, the
Yeah.
1,400-pound animal, to go along with that because they're operating from instinct?
Well, it's pretty easy if you think about it. Whatever you feel, you transmit to the horse.
Okay.
The connection that you have to it can feel everything. So if you go in panic, then everything is getting worse. If you are doing it, when I'm doing a competition, I have one exercise after the other. If I lose the focus because I'm making a mistake, or because there is a sound and the horse reacts like he's spooky or something,
Mm-hmm.
and I lose my focus, and I don't have a stable structure of my training, then I can't afford the next exercise and regain the points that I've lost in the previous exercise. And so it's quite normal for me to think about that moment, this moment that I'm living, this moment in which I'm riding. Also, when I ride a bike, I have to stay focused, because anything can happen. And
Mm-hmm.
if a mistake happen, which is absolutely human, because we make errors, we make mistakes, doesn't matter. The important thing is just reset, take a moment, and go back to your structure, to what you have developed in the time, which are your basic, your fundamentals. So just go back and go on from there.
So, so for you, and eventually I want to get into the business arena
Yes.
with the same concepts. Specifically for you, what are what are the things that you've learned, or the repetitive? I know you say the structure and staying focused, and which I get. But sometimes I'm like an Irish setter that sees a squirrel running across the yard, and boom, I want to take off, and I have my mechanisms of how I get that refocus. What are some things you specifically do to train your brain and your response when you're on that horse, on that bike, or when you get into the C-suite office?
Well, if we talk, like, for example, we are in a meeting, in a business meeting, and a mistake is happening. If you react, emotionally, like making a lot of over explanations, and you keep on going, giving, I don't know, keep on going, talking and talking and over explain yourself. That's a mistake. And I just think that if I'm continuing like that, I just make everything worse. So it's important to accept the first mistake, to realize that you have done it and it's absolutely normal, it's fine. But then just breathe,
That's all right.
just wait.
That's the theme I hear with a lot of the guests is it does come down, and different people call it different things. The guys that come out of the military that I've talked with, they call it combat breathing. People that work with neurodiverse individuals, autism scale or whatever, they'll call it box breathing. So is that a tool you use to like physically get yourself focused?
Yeah,
Is to
yeah, of course.
take that deep breath and hold it and regulate yourself before you can
Yes,
regulate your circumstances.
yes,
Is that
yes.
what I mean? What else do you do? I'm a obsessive reader of people's insights and experiences in the unexpected, in the chaos arena. What are some other things you have intentionally done on your part to get to where you're at today?
Mm, well, I have to be honest because anyway, I'm like I'm really cold person in any kind of situation. So also, when I'm under a chaos situation or something, I'm always able to stay like a little bit distance so
Okay.
that I can see everything around me, so that I can focus and I can quickly go to the point and the direction I want to take.
Okay. Now I'm going to play the devil's advocate. What's the downside of having that uh, that structured focus and perspective that somebody might go, oh man, she's really cold hearted or distant, or I don't know, what I want to do here. What's the downside to that approach, if there is one for you? Because I could probably talk to other people who are just very. Well, I know one guy who his thing is he's a professional stand-up comic, and he'll switch into where there's a this kind of going
Yeah.
on environment. He tries to lighten everything up with a little bit of comedy. So so what are the most difficult things you have to deal with um, based on your uh, personality and perspective that accomplishes the goals that you're trying to help other people accomplish?
Well, for me, it's really important. Let's talk about being so distant and cold during this kind of situation doesn't mean that I am like a cold person,
Okay.
because when I work always in a team. I have my team, and for me, it's important to support my team at my best, but not telling them what to do and not what to do.
Okay.
And I really like to have a normal relationship with them, but putting them on a path that they can see their abilities and their potential by themselves. So I like to give like a direction, but without pushing or forcing, so that they can realize by themselves, and then they can continue their work by themselves, just only realizing what they are able to do. And when a mistake happen, it's important also for a leader to have the ability of adapting
Hmm.
when you talk with the different kind of person you have in front, because some people need a push, sometimes they need just silence and stay away. And you have to be able to understand how to relate with this kind of people, which kind of people you are talking to. That's the first question I'm always making to myself. And then it's important also to understand, the timing. When is the right time to have a conversation? When is the right time to give space? When is the right time to say, hey, now it's time?
Yeah.
So this is.
No, this is great because the work environment and the sports environment that you're involved in includes the cultural aspects, the historical aspects of where you're at in the Netherlands or in Germany when you're down, with the horse Grand Prix horse arena stuff, and then in the business world. And this is gonna this is confirmation for me because here's Sun Tzu in the Art of War. I don't know if you've ever read it, but what the things you're saying track right along with Sun Tzu and my experience, and it's the principles that are the same. And one of the things I close every episode. You're going to hear it at the end of this episode. I close every episode with reminding people to always do the right thing at the right time, the right way, and for
Yeah.
the right reasons. And that's
Yeah.
Sun Tzu in the Art of War.
Mhm.
And so we're on the same page. And I just think it's fascinating that you can have. I never thought about, because I'm not. I mean, I've ridden horses, but to be in that competitive arena or on a motorcycle, but I have been in the high performance pressure of law enforcement, and all the things you're saying are right in there. The principles are all the same. So, what are some of the misconceptions about leadership in your experience? And one of which I think you've already just shared, that your leadership style is to have some distance and the bigger perspective, and some people might perceive that as being cold-hearted as a person, and that's a misconception. It's not true. What are some other things that you found, whether it's in the competitive world of sports or in the business arena, people's misconceptions of what it means to be a leader?
I often see people that think that leadership means going through everything despite any kind of fear, or you have to show that you are strong enough. You have to show that you have no fear or whatever. And I don't personally agree about that, because anyway, we need the time to think about what we are going to do. Every time that we take a decision, we have to accept the fact that we are going to face a trade-off. Because any time that we, for example, in sport, in my training, if in my daily training, if one day I decided to focus on one exercise, means that I leave behind the other exercises. Or in business, when I decide about my company that we focus on a project with a specific brand, means that we are giving our time on that specific project, meaning that the other projects are going to be delayed. So we have also to accept that. And I often see people that they think that it can be, a leader can be multitasking, which is fine because anyway, we are doing a lot of things at
Hmm.
the same time, but our attention is going just only in one direction at time. So this is I can see that a lot of people has this misunderstanding with leadership, that the leader, that has to go through everything,
Hmm.
despite whatever, or has to show that he's strong enough to face challenges, which is okay, but it's not really like that.
Yeah. Uh, there's a fine line between what you think is leading by example is micromanaging,
Huh?
and we I don't know if you were brought up this way, that if you want it done right, you got to do it yourself,
Yeah.
and that is a false conception. That's not leadership. That's being a boss, uh,
Yeah.
telling people what to do, when to do it, and how to do it,
Yeah.
kind of
Exactly.
thing. So that's that's a uh,
That's
it's,
why when I told you that when I work with a team, I never force them or push them to do something, but I let them decide how is better to do, but just showing them their abilities.
okay. That brings up a really interesting dilemma and challenge, I think, in the leadership arena. How do you articulate your expectations in the way of performance to the people that work for you or with you, and at the same time keep a accountability uh, of performance? You know, as opposed, because some people, there's leaders out there that think, okay, and there's parents out there that do the same thing. Is they're that laissez-faire. It is what it is. I'll let you find yourself, and there's no accountability to fundamental structure expectations. So how do you balance uh, being
Uh,
being distant, but at the same time being accountable and helping uh, uh, craft people into being what they can be?
yeah, it's quite difficult to explain, but I'm driven by one thing, that I want also that if I'm successful, I want that also my team is successful. So all the members of my team and the person that I'm working with, whatever is related to, which is horses, motorbike, a project with fashion brands or whatever. I just appreciate the way in which they are working with me, and I really like to show them their possibility also to growth. So I like to show them their abilities and their potential, and then it's kind of their attitude to be eager to and willing to be better, which is quite normal, I think, for for anyone that is going through something new in a high sport environment, or has something to do with high brands or whatever. Then it's something new, something excited, and they. I like to create this like fire inside them to be like successful also in what they are doing. So this is why I really like to create a team in which they are driven by this passion to be better.
That that's great. I'm going to be a little bit devil's advocate. How do we balance our definition of success from a very personal, I always looked at it this way, that success is somebody's opinion of what you matter to them, so that, oh, I want to be like, and pick the best Ducati bike racer in the world, or the best dressage performer, or like that used to be in American basketball. I want to be like Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
And that's that you're imposing success on them, because what if they fail, and then they're no longer in the sport, or they're no longer in the business world. They bankrupt your business. And then, so how do you define success from just a personal standpoint, that it doesn't depend on somebody else's opinion of you?
Yeah, this is something really important, also because I'm the kind of person that I really don't care about what the other are thinking about me, honestly. But that's something, yeah, I have, like, I grew up in this way, so I really don't care. And what I'm trying to let my team understand is that also they don't have to care, because um, we are all different.
Mhm.
We are all different person, and we all react to life in different ways. Life is unpredictable, and whatever we do every day is unpredictable. So this is where I come back to the point that we should all be able to adapt ourselves to the new circumstances, and this is going to help us from during a mistake and during a failure, because it's normal. We are all new human, so we all make mistakes. But the important thing is how we react to that. So how do we react to the mistake? To the
Mhm.
first mistake, we have not, as I said, we don't have to react emotionally, and we don't have to react immediately, because some mistakes just need time. No, the important thing is that we don't have to be too emotional, too much. Too much emotional after the mistake is happening, because this is going to drive us to in the second mistake. And then during the second mistake, then we lose credibility. So the first mistake is not a problem. It's if we run into the second one, then it's a problem.
If you repeat, because then you didn't learn from your first
We
mistake.
didn't learn, but if we probably didn't give us enough time to understand, to
Okay.
go back, reset, and then go forward.
Good advice. Good advice. Now, that's the negative side of things. Now, switch to the positive side. How do you celebrate and get your people to celebrate their own personal success or team success? What do you do to celebrate wins, so to speak?
I can see that success is done by little steps. So when I have success at one level, I just look forward to the next step and to the next step.
That's it. That's interesting. I'm in law enforcement, or even in the first responder world. When people go, "Oh man, you're a hero," you saved a firefighter, saved somebody's life. A
Yeah.
police officer did something exceptional, and that person, that officer, that firefighter, that whoever, that citizen, they downplay it and go, "Well, I was just doing my job." And and I struggle with that, because people are so quick to be critical of themselves. Hey, I really screwed up. That was stupid. All these things where they criticize themselves, but when they do have successes, they do meet expectations, exceed expectations. We don't reinforce that, and so that's kind of why I asked you the question of how do you celebrate successes, um, because I don't know. I guess in my world or my perspective, I think it's as important or more important to celebrate other people's wins so that they feel that and know that they can accomplish great things. So now I'm dying because I wrote this one down. I'm dying because you're a high drive person, and you've talked about adrenaline and the next challenge and whatnot. What do you do to reset and recharge and not always be in that high gear?
How can how do I have rest? I really have to think about because I never stop. That's my problem. I mean, I'm just quiet when I sleep.
Really? So that's
Yeah,
that's your reset recharge time is
that's
that
to be
that's
honest, yes.
um interesting. And how much of that is cultural? I mean, is that typical
I grew up
in your
like this because
oh,
I as an example, I have my father, and my father is exactly like me. So he, yeah, he was just never stopping, and he was just working and thinking about the next step, and yeah. So when I reach a goal, I'm ready already with a new one.
all right. That's that's it's really good.
I
How
know
does
it's not usual. I know that
how,
it's not usual, but I don't know. Probably for me, it's something normal because I grew up with this mentality, with this attitude. So that's probably why.
so does your team have that same? Is that how you? I don't want to say judge people, but I guess that's as you're putting a team together. Are you solely looking for those high drive people that?
No,
Um,
no, also
okay,
because it would be impossible. So we
okay.
have we have different kind of people, and they are all different. So someone needs just a break away from from the environment. Someone prefers to stay involved because then it's more motivated. Someone else needs just short breaks, other long breaks. So they are all different, and this is what I like because I have different kind of people to deal with, and this is also something that I really like because keep me always in challenge.
Wow, that I think I'd be exhausted after spending a day on your team, and I thought I was a high drive person. Uh, oh man, so in kind of a reflective kind of way, looking back at people were that you've come across in leadership positions and entrepreneurs or whatever that high stress, what the ones that have, for lack of a better term, have failed, what do you see as the biggest reason why?
Well, do you mean failure like a disaster?
Well,
Or
like somebody that had a very thriving, successful business, and it ends up going sideways. It goes under, whether bankruptcy or you know, I guess I guess it depends on how you define failure. Um, that they're no longer at the top of their game when they should be?
Well, I think it's only the repetition of the mistakes,
Okay. Uh,
because this is why I said that, the first mistake is okay, but the second one is the one that is making you losing the credibility in front of everyone.
okay.
So this is why you need to pause between after the first mistake and between the new between the first mistake and the new step.
Okay. So this may sound a little out from left field or out of coming out of nowhere. Who do you? And I see this in so many people, at least in the American business world and in public life. If you're a politician or whatever, and in the first responders, that law enforcement, the firefighters and whatnot, the higher up you go, the more isolated you become from other people who feel like they can talk to you and say, "Hey, Sylvia, you kind of you want you stepped over the line, and you can respect and take their advice and insights." How do you hold yourself, and because individually we just can't do it, how do you hold yourself accountable to these ideals of performance? Um, I don't know. Do you have a mentor? Do you have a coach? Who's the person you go to and you go, I need help?
My father.
Okay, that's awesome. That's awesome. Because so many people don't have somebody. They're afraid to. They see it as a sign of weakness. I can do this myself. I can pull myself up by my own bootstraps, and everything rides on my shoulders. Um, how do you, if you know people like that, how do you approach them and go, "Hey, I'm here to help," or "How can I help you?" Or is that not, you haven't experienced that yet? I don't know.
How do I when I do something like I don't
No,
understand what
yeah,
you.
no. For you, you said it's your dad. That's your
Yes.
go-to person.
Yeah.
What do you do when you're working with a client, or um,
I'm always really honest and really open. And
okay,
when I see something, when I see that a situation is uncomfortable, a person is uncomfortable, something is not going well, I'm really open and I'm going really face to face saying, I'm here to help. What can I do? How can I help? That is something that I'm doing with the clients, with the team members, with the other riders, with the other people around me. When I see that something is uncomfortable, I'm always like, how can I help?
yeah,
This is something that I do normally.
okay. Statistically, about half the population are, at least consider themselves, if not actually, they are introverted, and they don't have your extroverted personality and wiring, um, to to take those steps and share those insights. What's your advice to somebody that is timid? They don't want to offend other people. They're afraid to upset somebody else, but they're in a position of leadership. Yeah, but they're an introvert. What would be your advice to them?
Just be honest. Be honest and don't be shy, because we all need help and we all need someone that is kind with us. So it's not necessary that when you are on top level that you act like if you are over the others, because we are all the same. We are all people, all normal people, normal person. We have the same life. So just sharing a bit of kindness is nothing difficult.
Oh,
So whatever is the level that you are on, then just be nice and kind.
and that's the expression. What do you call it? Not unintentional, but random acts of kindness.
Yeah.
That we'll talk about that, and we'll have commercials about it or whatever. Oh, I'm gonna buy that guy's coffee behind me in line or whatever. But then when we get into the work environment, somehow we seem to, particularly if you're in a position of leadership or a position of management, that you've suddenly become a a raging lunatic boss, kind of thing. What in the workplace, besides be kind to people, what would be your best advice to someone that is in a position of leadership, of responsibility? Your best advice to them in the people dealing with the people they work with.
Making a difference between authority and authoritarianism.
Okay. And that's just, it's that servant mindset.
Yeah.
Put the wants and needs of others before your own. And probably one of the best books I ever read is by Ryan Holiday, and it's Ego is the Enemy. And when you let your ego get in the way, then you cause more chaos than you do good, even if you think you're doing the right thing.
Yeah, because if you think about when I said about mistake, the second mistake would happen because you want to protect your ego.
Yeah, spot on. That's exactly there. Silvia, this is so much fun. Now, if you get a second horse, instead of naming it Ducati, as a shout out, as
horses.
you have 5 horses. Well, you got to name one of them Harley Davidson. Come on, yeah. Oh, so well, first of all, how can people reach out to you to find? Because we have listeners all over Europe. We're in 59 countries now. So how can people reach out to you that are listening in Ireland or Poland or all the different places that we have listeners? What's the best way to reach you? And what's that?
On my website. Yeah.
And what's your website?
It's www.
Is it the long? Is that I don't speak German or what, the HOF?
It's Hof Marabunta. Yes, hofmarabuntablog.com.
All right. So I'm going to make sure that's in the episode notes, and because it's a little bit of a long one, but yeah, the first I wanted to make sure that I knew I was going to have the right one.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. If they want to watch you compete in the horse arena or the motorcycle,
they can Google me.
Google you, okay, and see if you're going to be near them competing.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Any final thoughts you'd like to share with folks before we sign off?
I can only say that I can only suggest to anyone just to build a structure where they can go back to a chaotic moment.
Awesome. Well, we're going to wrap it up. I want to thank you, Silvia. This was so much fun.
Thank you so much.
It's a first for our audience to have an international guest on. So it's been a lot of, for me, it's been a lot of fun.
For me as well.
Thank you for being here. To our loyal listeners, out there. We're now 59 countries. So we got to keep building our community. Thank you. Keep liking, commenting, sharing with your friends. Follow us on YouTube at the Warrior Servant Leader podcast, at Pat Welsh JD. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn and on Substack. That's kind of where I go to do my writing kind of stuff. So follow us, join us, and always, always, always strive to do the right thing at the right time, the right way, and for the right reasons. Love you all. See you next week.